This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, we know 35 years ago we had Valley Girl, and next year will mark the 35th anniversary of Revenge of the Nerds. But I have on the phone with me a real genius. I have right from Canada, and we're happy to have her. We get the lovely, the talented, and of course one of Martha Coolidge's favorites.
Yeah.
Yes, Michelle Meyrink. Yes, how are you doing? What's the weather like where you are?
Well, it's actually very cold, but very sunny and beautiful. I'm here in Vancouver.
Yes,
and so it's actually a beautiful day. Just really cold.
Do you know where I'm located here in New Brunswick?
Yeah, I guess it's not as cold as New Brunswick.
You're right there. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, we have to wear a jacket here right now, so...
Yeah?
Yeah, that qualifies as cold right now. We just moved into it. We just moved into winter.
Moved into winter. Are you? I reading your background. Like I did not know you were Canadian.
Oh yes, I'm Canadian. I moved down to LA as soon as I got out of high school. So I spent about 10 years in Los Angeles. 12 years. I went there for a couple of years first. No, I went there for a year, and then I was trying to get into film, and I just struggled, and then I left, and I went to Toronto, and then I tried to break in there, and I got a lucky break because actually when I was 12 years old, I lived in the Dominican Republic, and I was an extra on The Godfather.
Oh, wow.
The Godfather Part 2. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
And so from being 12, I had written Francis Coppola, I wrote Fred Roos, and I wrote, what is his name? One other. They were all staying at the Hotel Embajador, which was a hotel that we hung out at when we were kids. And Robert De Niro was there, Al Pacino, and they were all staying there, and a group of us kids would always try and get their autographs and hang out. And Francis Coppola actually is very, he loves kids. He's a really nice man. And he befriended me, and he let me pretend to be the director a couple of times and things like that, and like just on the set when we were extras. And then when I wrote when I was 18, when I got out of high school, nothing, he didn't respond, but Fred Roos did, and they were casting The Outsiders then. And so I got the opportunity to send in a videotape audition. And so I did that, and I ended up then getting to read for it. So I went down to LA and then read for it. And then ended up going, then I got in The Outsiders. I had like 11 lines, I think. But it was a fantastic film to get into because it was all Francis Coppola's kid film.
Yeah.
And so from that, then I got an agent, and then I stayed in LA and continued working. Yeah. So I spent most of my 20s in Los Angeles and then moved back when I was 30. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you asked a pretty deep question in your email. You said you wanted to talk about what acting means to you. And, I really want to get your response on that. Go into that.
I mainly said that, Greg, because I also don't, when people ask me about stories, I go, I don't know how much I can fill you in with stories about films, though But acting now, and after taking that time away from acting, um, I had some realization. When I left, I was planning to take 6 months off, and then I took another 6 months off, and then I just started really reassessing what I was doing. And it literally went every 6 months I go, I'm going to just take another 6 months off. And I felt like when I took that time off that I had gotten so caught up in my career, and it always felt like this sort of panic thing. You got a film, it's really fantastic, and then your life is all about the next job. And I hated that feeling. And so I took a break. And then after a while, I started going, I don't miss it. So I questioned it. But later, then I had children, I got married, I was living in a small community on an island, and when a nephew of mine asked me if I would teach a workshop for a group of young actors, and so I did that. And when I did that, that was when I went, oh, acting is an avenue for self-expression. It's where you can sing, you get to it's an opportunity to like sing or something, just express yourself. And I realized how much I missed it in this lifestyle of a small town, raising kids. I enjoyed being a mom and all of that, but I didn't, have this place for expression. And so after that was when I went, I want to get involved in some way, and not in a way that I could explore it myself and find my own viewpoint on it and look into acting. So that's then I started a little acting school, and that's what I'm doing now, and really enjoying it.
It's interesting. You brought up something that really hit me as well. You say when you got done a film, it became all about looking for the next project. I meant to say to you before we started recording, I don't know when yet that this is going to air on here, so I need your infinite patience on that, which, but I'm going to say this. One of the reasons why I tell people I don't know when it's going to air is because I've got a big back catalog, and one of the reasons I keep a big back catalog is I like to constantly have new material. I know podcasters right now who are very good, but they're always digging for that next interview, and it's almost like they're trying to beat a clock, and that's a hard way to go through life, and it leaves you not being able to appreciate what you've already got, like because eventually, when after this airs here, it eventually down the road goes to my YouTube channel. If I put the latest stuff up right away, then it leaves it very, very difficult to enjoy it, because you're constantly looking towards what's next. And sometimes what's next doesn't come for a while, So I really get where you're coming from there. You do a film, and then it's like, what's next? But you really just want to appreciate what you've just done,
Yeah, I never thought of it exactly in those terms, but you're right. And it just pulls you out of your life in that moment. You're right away on to the next, looking forward to the future. You're back to auditioning, and it's always in someone else's hands. I guess life is like that in every way, but it felt like in acting, not everyone works like this. People do their own projects and are doing that more and more now. But for me, where I was just auditioning. I was looked to be in other people's projects, and it's kind of like yes or no. I still loved it. I don't want to say it wasn't a bad thing. I completely enjoyed it at the time. It was when I left that I went, oh, I feel like I want to have more a hold on things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's challenging. I must say also, and for a lot of actors that are out there auditioning, it's enjoyable as well, and it's exciting, and it's and it's really fun when you get a job, and then there's a lot of nice people, a lot of great projects out there, so it wasn't all like a negative thing,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think I just reached a point where I wanted. I know that I drove myself like that. I was very career focused.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. Well,
Hmm.
you mentioned The Outsiders. You got to work with Francis Ford. Is it
Coppola,
Coppola
yes.
or Coppola?
Coppola, yeah,
Coppola. Well, you know, it's
yeah,
interesting because, in the 1970s were huge for him, doing two
yeah,
Godfather movies, The Conversation, and, in my opinion, the greatest war film ever made, Apocalypse Now.
yeah. Amazing film. Hmm.
Yeah, and then he does The Outsiders, which really tames it down. You know,
I know.
but yeah,
He needed a hit at that point. He needed some money.
yeah.
He needed to make some. It was a really good time actually for me and as well as many others because that became the 80s was like teen movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he needed to do that because he had done what was it called? He had started his own studios before that, Zoetrope Studios, out of the money from all the Godfather movies, and then I think he lost a lot in Apocalypse Now, and the musical. I can't think of it right now. The name of the musical he made with Terry Garr. Anyway, so that was his um, aim to make a popular teen movie.
Well, look at the cast in The Outsiders. You had C. Thomas Howell, Matt
Yeah,
Dillon, Ralph Macchio just before Karate Kid, Patrick
yeah,
Swayze. You had Rob Lowe. You had Emilio Estevez, Tom Cruise. This is the same year he
yeah,
did Risky Business,
yeah,
and Leif Garrett, and of course Diane Lane in this as well. Like,
yeah,
talk about
yeah,
being in that company.
yeah. I think that was my first film, so I felt like I had just walked into like a teen magazine or something. It was like, and it was people that I had seen in magazines a lot. Leif Garrett was a teen star. He was in all those teen magazines. Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio, yeah.
And
So it was funny coming from where I was at, entering into that. It was exciting.
and Tom Cruise, still one of the biggest stars in the world right now. Um,
Yes, yeah,
yep.
yeah, yeah. And he was always very focused, driven, and he had that in him right from the get go.
And then, of
Hmm.
course, did Francis Ford Coppola remember you when you did The Outsiders from being an
He
extra?
when I came there, he did not remember me. We talked about it. Um, he laughed about how it's funny that you could be writing a script and that someone is a little kid who will be in the film at that when you finally do it. Um, but he did not remember me.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you
I
somebody.
mean,
Yeah,
I got in there because of that, but
yeah.
and read for it, but yeah. He did not remember that moment wasn't as big in his mind as it was in mine.
Well, I'll tell you somebody who did remember you is Martha Coolidge, who
Yes.
directed you in
Yeah.
and three movies, and you must have had a great working relationship with Martha. Talk about that.
Yeah, so Martha I started with in Valley Girl,
Hmm.
and that was her big movie. It was made on a budget of $300,000, and it really became this huge hit that no one expected, and so that was her break in, and she's fantastic to work with, very open. We then did The Joy of Sex, which was like it sounds worse, by the way, than it is. It was supposed to be National Lampoon's Joy of Sex, but the movie was just the whole thing didn't come together, and so that one died. And then we ended up doing Real Genius together, and that was really fun, and that was another big hit. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed working with Martha, and yeah. So, of course, when you work with someone for 3 films, you get to know them pretty well. We've almost gotten together a few times because of the anniversary for Real Genius. They were going to do a Blu-ray audition for that, but then Val Kilmer was sick at that time, so we weren't able to do that. But yeah,
Okay.
and we were going to do some interviews and stuff like that. But I haven't been back. I haven't seen her in person.
I gotta say, my favorite film you've done is Valley Girl, and I just bought it on.
Yeah?
I just bought it on Blu-ray recently, and I watched it the other day just to give myself a little comb up before I interviewed you, and I'm gonna tell you, like. I was born in 1972, the year The Godfather came out, speaking of which.
Oh, okay.
And so, I grew up in the 80s, and I love the teen films, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High is a favorite, Risky Business. Yeah, Risky Business. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of these movies affect me because of their soundtracks. And I'm going to tell you, Valley Girl's no different. Valley Girls has a great soundtrack album to it, you know? Like...
Yeah. Then they got, that's right. I remember that all going in, happening because of the limited budget and working to get the music, and they did a great job.
Yes.
But I haven't watched it for a long time, so we can't talk about the music a lot because I don't remember.
Oh, I can remember some stuff that pinpoints right to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually was looking on YouTube the other day. I love the song, for example, you know, we all know Modern English, I'm Melting You, you know, but, which is a big theme song for Valley Girl, but I love the song A Million Miles Away by the Plimsolls as well. That was a great song.
Oh, yeah.
But one song that I tried to find, and I actually found it, and it pinpoints a big scene with you. I actually call this your theme song now. It's a song by Spark called Eaten by the Monster. Or
Wait, at what point? You're laughing, but I don't know what you're laughing about.
Well, let's just say the guy shows up on the bicycle, and the song is playing as he shows up. It's very comical, and we don't know who he's going to meet who's in the shower upstairs.
Oh, okay. So, that's a bigger... That wasn't me in the shower, so it goes... I forget about that, because there was someone else stood in the shower, so unless I watched the movie, I forget about it. Yeah, okay, I thought maybe that's what you were thinking about.
I thought the song made the scene funny.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I love the song, and I looked it up, and I listened to it several times, and I like, well, I think had there been other music, it would have lost its tone. I think that song, by Spark,
okay.
I think it's called Eaten by the Monster, or this,
okay.
Something about puberty or something like that, you know, and I don't remember it right off the top of my head, but just the look on the guy's face, he turns the bike and he's like, maybe I'll try to go back, because your character was kind of in competition in a way with the woman who played your mom, Lee Purcell.
That's right, yeah. Lee Purcell, yeah.
So I thought that was funny. So we never know who is who's in the shower and who he's going to end up. And of course, somebody comes home and we don't know what. And I love the fact that, number one, Martha did a great job choosing that song for this because it added a
Yes,
great
yes,
comical
yeah,
edge to the scene.
yeah.
And number two, like you see him having sex with somebody, but you never see the face. You don't see the face of the person coming up the stairs. So you don't know who's going to walk in on who. And I loved it. I thought that scene was so well done, but the song really helped it.
Yeah, so I haven't watched it for a while, and you're bringing this up. I do not remember this scene. So, I mean, I remember the scene, but I can't recount it like you.
Yeah, well, I got a big laugh out of that. I watched it one morning. I got home from work because I work nights here right now, and I got home from work and I stuck Valley Girl in. And I remember, I was laying in bed and that scene come on there, and I was like, I had to go back and watch that scene again because the music was just perfect. It just underlined it perfectly. But you were, of course, amongst a group of girls, a group of 4 girls, and of course, you were with Deborah Foreman and
Yeah.
Heidi Holecker,
Holecker.
and of course Elizabeth Daly, who's of course just got off Wacko, and of course the voice is one of the Rugrats.
Yeah,
And
that's right. Yeah.
yeah, what an interesting group of girls. I've tried to get them all on here. I've been in touch with Deborah Foreman. I don't know what's going on with her. I understand there's a musical version of Valley Girl coming out at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Heidi and Deborah and Elizabeth have some smaller parts in it or something. Yeah.
Why are you in it?
I haven't stayed. I think everybody does. Has been staying connected, meeting up and doing Comic Cons and different things with Valley Girl, and I haven't done anything like that. And
well, it was
yeah.
the four girls in that film. I thought all have very different personalities, and I was wondering, what was it like on set working with Deborah, Heidi, and Elizabeth, and the dynamics.
Oh, great. We are all, and we've kept in touch, and it was really, it was very nice. I mean, it's lightly in touch, Facebook kind of thing, but it was very enjoyable. It was exciting. Everyone at that point is, I think everyone's first film or beginning of films, and so it was fun. We hung out. It was just good. Very different, I guess, but in a way we're all very much the same as well.
Yes, I like the dynamic difference between the 4 of you, and of course you have Nicolas Cage, who this was Nicolas Cage's first starring role, I believe, and I gotta say, a lot of people can relate to him. He's somebody that's from a different side of the tracks. And you can, of course, Cameron Dye, well cast as his best friend, and they show up at this party and they stand out like sore thumbs and they get rejected. And any memories of working with them?
Well, we were also all in acting class together, so we have lots of memories. Nicolas Cage was so funny in that film, and he has such a great sense of humor. And I think a lot of the best lines came from just off the cuff with him. And he, I think I learned a lot actually from working with him because he knew the industry from the inside, growing up as being family basically in that industry, and so he had a lot of confidence and insight into how things work. How much I think on my part, what I talked about earlier about trying to do things right, he didn't do that. He made strong choices, and he could do his own thing, and it was fantastic. It really ends up being what you want to watch. So yeah, I learned a lot from him.
There was some good casting in this movie, a lot of great casting. I love the casting of Frederick Forrest and Colleen Camp as Deborah Foreman's hippie parents.
I know Frederick Forrest so funny in that role. They're the hippie parents. Yeah.
I love how he's more nervous about the prom than his daughter.
Yeah.
That was good casting, and of course Lee Purcell, very, very funny, playing your mom in the film.
Yeah, and everyone was. It was a fun set to be on. It was very comfortable, and everyone was really nice, welcoming. I think I still had very, my Canadian accent in there, which people made fun of because it was like it would come out. Couldn't help it. Especially my out. Yeah. So things like that would come up, and but they all made you feel very comfortable. It was nice.
The following year, you did a couple of films, and one I get to touch base on here, celebrating the 35th anniversary next year. Revenge of the Nerds. Question:
right,
Are you a nerd?
Definitely, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something. I need to hear the nerd laugh. Come on, do the nerd laugh.
What's the nerd laugh? You do the nerd laugh. I don't know what the nerd laugh is.
The nerd laugh is exactly what Robert Carradine did there in that film.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What?
But it's not. Yeah, I'm not going to do the nerd laugh. I don't think I can. You got to get him to do that.
Oh, gee, I was hoping to get that out of you. Yeah, they did you up in the glasses, and you were the girl that first time we see you're slamming your head into a computer screen.
Yeah, that's right. That hurt.
Yeah, well, sometimes, that's something that hasn't changed today. I see people slamming their heads into the computer all the time. It's called technology.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I know the feeling.
Talk about getting cast.
So Revenge of the Nerds was that was really fun because we were all on location together for a few months, and it felt all the nerds hung out together, and it was very actually warm feeling on that set, very friendly, and there was a great. I think a lot of good friends made out of that movie. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, good cast in that. Any stories about the making of this film?
What could I tell you about that film? You
played the accordion.
What was very nice about I played the accordion. The nice thing about that was there was, like I said, it had a real nice, warm feeling. It was about supporting the underdog, and when we all worked, there was a great big cast with these extras also working as the nerds in the background, and it just felt very like a big team. And I was, there wasn't much battles going on between the cast. Just a very strong support. We did separate it was really the nerds hung out together. You didn't. So Lisa, I wouldn't have seen very much. We really separated. There was kind of a line.
Well, Lisa wasn't in Revenge of the Nerds. That was Julie Montgomery.
That's Julie Montgomery. That's right. Yeah.
I will say this. I interviewed a couple of people from National Lampoon's Animal House, and I was told that the Omegas and the Deltas were kept separate. So that would help their performances when they opposed.
It naturally happened on Revenge of the Nerds. You just started after filming, you'd hang out together. So it just was a natural thing. Yeah.
And of course, then after that, you did Joy of Sex back with Martha Coolidge. And as I said, I'm good friends with Lisa Langlois, who is in that.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, yeah.
I love Lisa. What was it like working with Lisa?
Oh, she's really nice. I mean, I knew her during the filming. We didn't see each other after. I haven't seen her. Maybe we bumped into each other a few times, but I don't know her that well. And now it's 35 years, so yeah.
I heard something about originally before his death, John Belushi was supposed to be in this movie. Do you know any stories about that?
There were so many that it went through so many changes, cast changes, script changes. It was always, I think there was a few directors going to be doing it, and it was an idea, I guess, that just didn't quite come together, and it just kept trying to figure it out, but it never. Yeah, and then when it fell into Martha's hands, I don't know the whole backstory to all of it, but I know that there was quite a few changes, cast, directors, people being asked, different things going on with it, but I don't know all of the ins and outs. Lisa may know more on it. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, they had Colin Camp back and Christopher Lloyd brought into this. But the story about Belushi was always intriguing to me. Unfortunately, passed away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Joy of Sex. I know that I don't know why they called it National Lampoon's Joy of Sex, because apparently National Lampoon's said they had nothing to do with this.
I don't know all that. I actually just don't know.
Yep.
At that point, I was like an actress who got a job, and I was like, yeah, and into it. And I don't really know the whole background about on the business end with National Lampoon. They were at one point linked to it.
Well, you got to play the lead. You got to play the lead in this. What was it like taking center stage on a movie?
I remember exactly that feeling. Like I didn't feel ready to take on a lead role. I remember that fully going, I don't feel like I can do this yet. And looking back, I know, like knowing now what I know now and looking back what I knew then, it's like it takes a while to understand what to bring into a role and to carry a film. It's not that for me that it's all about just one actor and their choices, but that's how I remember feeling like that at the time. It was a little daunting.
Yeah, well, Joy of Sex has definitely struggled, and I'm not sure what they could have done to put that together, but nonetheless, went on to be in a real hit, like a real genius. You're a real genius, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was, there was a big battle going on then between, there was 3 science movies coming out. John Hughes did one, and
Weird Science,
Real Genius, and then there was a third one. I don't know what happened to that one, but it was the studios battling for the science. I think John Hughes started it, and then it was leaked, and then the other studios went, "We've got to make a science movie." Anyway, I don't know all that, but the Real Genius became the hit of that group.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very popular amongst techie people. They loved it.
Any memories of the big popcorn scene?
It was pretty impressive. It was fun to be around that much popcorn, but glad I wasn't directing. That's a big job to make that all work. We just got to watch it.
How did they orchestrate that? Do you remember anything about how they went into that and made that all happen?
No, I can't tell you about that. No.
Did you bring butter?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this came, of course, Val Kilmer had starred in Top Secret the year before, which I think is a really underrated comedy. And then he went on and he really caught attention by critics with Real Genius. Now, Val Kilmer, we've heard a lot of controversy about Val over the years. I even had somebody that directed him as a guest on here said Val Kilmer was the worst experience he ever had working on a film was directing Val Kilmer. I don't know what he was like when you worked with him, but what was he like? What was your perspective?
For me, he was just a fantastic, wonderful person, and great to work with, and very accommodating, willing to put in any amount of work, and friendly, supportive. Fantastic.
One scene, I was going to say one scene stealer in the movie, I always remember, who's now pretty much famous for playing Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite, is, of course, John Grice.
Yeah, so funny in that role.
Yeah.
Both of those roles, a Real Genius and as Uncle Rico,
Well, you weren't the lead, but I think you had a little more material to work with than, say, you did in Valley Girl.
Valley Girl, also Real Genius, was a lot bigger budget, and we were filmed in LA. We had a longer film schedule. It was fun. It was an easy film to do. It was fun working with all the sets. I remember that. Like, there's a scene where I get to slide down in a sled on a stairway of ice, and it was fun working with all that.
Well, now we talk about One Magic Christmas. We just lost Harry Dean Stanton. I was wondering if you'd share any memories of him.
He was, Harry Dean Stanton's was around for a long time, and he was a really nice man, very nice man. And again, on One Magic Christmas, really nice. He was very down to earth. Yeah, I was sad when I saw that he passed away. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of films before we wrap up. A couple of films I haven't seen, but I want to bring them up for those that want to check out more of your work. Nice Girls Don't Explode. Talk about that.
Nice Girls Don't Explode was an independent film, and it's about a girl who thinks if she loses her virginity, she's going to explode, and it's her mother's way of keeping her at home. It was a fun film to work on. I'm sorry it didn't do better, but it was fun to work on. It was and a nice group of people.
And then the last film that's listed that you did with Jennifer Rubin of A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Permanent Record. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was about suicide, and it was a film that I felt like it was a film that I could never even remember the title of. Permanent Records, not a very good title.
Do you have a favorite of all your films? One that just kind of stands out to you, that is the most fun you've done, the one that's closest to your heart?
I think I love the I don't think the same scenes that are in it. I always forget that they're in it. Some of the scenes in Revenge of the Nerds, but I love the heart of Revenge of the Nerds. I feel like it has a lot of heart in it, and so I really like it for that. If I was to take one, I'd probably say Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're involved in an acting school right now?
I do. I have it's an acting school. It's a little school, and we here in Vancouver, and we're basically work a lot with the people that have been there, most of them for a few years. That's my kind of core group. And then there's ongoing classes with a moving, group of people coming through. And then there's some that stick around, and we've worked together for quite a while. And my goal is down the road to get more deep into projects, and that starts to grow between the creativity of the group. And so, Actorium,
Yes. Well, how does it feel to be back in Canada and compared to the States?
I was down in the States a few years ago, and in California, and with my husband's work, and I was in there for 8 months. And so when I came back again this time to Canada, I was so grateful for all of our trees. That's all I can say. I was just, oh my God, it felt very desert-like in California. That felt like it felt hot. And so when I came back to Canada, there's a lot of trees around our house, and I did not want to cut down one more tree. So it was nice to be back in Canada for that. I love Los Angeles, I got to say, though, for the all the stuff that's going on, and the people. I find it very stimulating, very creative. So I miss that, but I love our environment here.
Yes. Well, we're really happy to have you back in Canada. We love our Canadians, and of course with
Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I wish you luck on your acting school. It's nice to see
Thank
that.
you.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to see you're working at something that you enjoy. But I gotta say, when I got this interview, my younger brother, who does my YouTube videos up, he was like, "Oh, that's the girl from Real Genius." So there's definitely people that are going to be interested in this, and they'll be happy to hear that you're doing well, and they'll.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. I was going to say thank you for coming on to the show, and I was just wondering if before you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. Thanks. Hi, this is Michelle Meyrink, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python Paradise in New Brunswick, Canada.